Have you ever had someone smile at you, only to feel a knife behind their teeth? They act friendly, they compliment you. Maybe they even call you brother or friend. But deep down you know, they don't wish you well. They talk behind your back, twist your words, stir chaos when you're not looking. Now here's the trap. They want you to react. They want you angry, unbalanced, emotional, because the moment you do, they win. They want to see you sweat, stumble, shout. But what if you didn't give them that satisfaction? What if instead of firing back, you stood still? In a world that glorifies loudness, where everyone wants to get the last word in, there's something terrifyingly powerful about a person who remains calm, who says nothing, who walks away not because they're weak, but because they are in control. You see, Stoicism teaches us something most people forget. Stillness isn't surrender. Silence isn't submission. Stillness is mastery. Silence is strategy. When you don't react, you're not losing, you're winning quietly, patiently, deliberately, because you've made a choice not to fight a battle that doesn't deserve your energy. This video isn't about revenge. It's about something far more powerful, Stoic victory, the kind that doesn't need to lift a finger. Welcome to Stoic True Wisdom, where we don't fight fire with fire. We outlast it, we outgrow it, and we rise above it so completely that those who tried to hurt us can't even reach us anymore. Let me show you how. Let's start with the first strike, silence. Now I get it. When someone disrespects you, the natural urge is to clap back, to prove you're not weak, to defend your name. But here's a truth most people miss. Your silence can say more than 1,000 words. Your enemy doesn't want peace. They want noise. They want to see you crack, emotionally, mentally, publicly. Because your reaction, that's their reward. It tells them they still have power over you, that their chaos got to you. But when you don't react, when you meet their fire with stone, their drama with calm, you steal the one thing they crave the most, your energy. There's a quote from Epictetus that hits deep. It's not the person who insults you that harms you. It's your opinion that you've been harmed. In other words, no one can disturb your peace unless you hand it over to them. I've learned this the hard way, through betrayal, backstabbing, fake friends who smiled to my face while digging traps behind my back. And trust me, I wanted to speak up. I wanted revenge, but staying silent, that was the real flex. Because while they kept shouting into the void, I stayed centered, grounded, unmoved. And that's what scared them the most. Silence isn't weakness. It's composure under pressure. It's the art of letting fools expose themselves without your help. So the next time someone tries to pull you into their chaos, pause, take a breath, and remember this. Your silence isn't you backing down. It's you rising above. Because nothing unsettles a chaotic person more than someone they simply cannot shake. The second way to hurt those who hate you without lifting a finger is this. Build a life so disciplined it becomes a mirror they can't stand to look into. You see, your enemies don't always want to see you suffer. Sometimes they want something worse. They want to see you stagnate, to stay stuck in the same cycle, to rot in the same environment they're trapped in. Because if you evolve, if you rise, they're forced to confront something terrifying, that their pain was self-inflicted, that they chose bitterness while you chose growth. They watch you. Don't think they don't. From behind fake smiles, from quiet corners, they're hoping you mess up, that you skip the gym, that you oversleep, that you quit. But each time you rise early, each time you train, reflect, stay focused, you're reminding them silently that your life is not built on emotion, it's built on intention. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." You're not outgrowing them out of spite, you're outgrowing them because you refuse to rot in the same soil of hate, envy, and drama. And here's the irony. You don't even need to say a word. You don't need to post about your wins. You don't need to prove anything. Your consistency, your discipline, your quiet excellence is proof enough. It's like standing in front of a clean mirror. If they're covered in dirt, they'll hate the reflection, not because of you, but because of what it reveals about them. So stay consistent, stay focused, stay sharp, and let your discipline do the damage. Here's something most people forget. Hate burns fast. But discipline? Discipline endures. The people who want to see you fail, they're not playing the long game. They're fueled by emotion, impulse, quick bursts of envy and resentment. And like any fire with no direction, they burn hot, but they burn out. But you're building different. You're moving with patience. You're shaping a future they won't even recognize when they finally look up, because by then, you'll be long gone. Gone in growth, gone in peace, gone in purpose. Seneca said it best. It is better to conquer our grief than to deceive it. I'd say the same goes for hatred. Don't bury it, don't wrestle with it, just move past it. Leave it behind like you would a burning house that was never yours to begin with. See, while they're stuck in the same loop, gossiping, comparing, resenting, you're evolving. Silently, steadily. With every step, you're climbing higher, until one day, the noise below just sounds like wind in the distance. That's not fantasy. That's the Stoic way. You don't just survive your enemies, you outlast them. You become a chapter in a book they can no longer turn the page on. Because here's the truth. They're still fighting a war that you walked away from years ago. And that, right there, is the most painful realization they'll ever face. So don't waste your time fighting ghosts. Use your time to build a life so grounded, so full of purpose, that even their most hateful thoughts fade into irrelevance. They may scream into the void, but you'll be too far ahead to hear it. Now here's the one they'll never see coming. Forgive them, and mean it. Not because they apologized, not because they changed, and definitely not because they deserve it. No, you forgive them because you deserve peace. We've been taught that forgiveness is some kind of soft surrender, that if you let go, they win. But that's just ego talking. Real forgiveness, true Stoic forgiveness, isn't weakness. It's liberation. When you forgive someone fully, you're saying, "You no longer have a home in my mind. You don't get to rent space in my heart." You're not letting them off the hook. You're just cutting the rope that's been dragging their poison behind you for far too long. There's a line from Musonius Rufus, one of the great Stoic teachers. It is not enough to refrain from harming others. We must also not wish them harm. That's powerful, because it means your healing isn't complete until your hands and your heart are clean. And when you can look at someone who tried to tear you down and say, "I release you," that's not surrender. That's dominance over your own soul. And make no mistake, the world sees it. They see a person who could have clapped back, who could have exposed, destroyed, or retaliated, but chose wisdom instead. They see a person who walked through fire and came out not just standing, but standing with grace. Because here's the truth no one tells your enemies. The person they tried to break is now someone they'll never even be able to reach again. So forgive them, Not for them, but for you. Forgive and walk forward, lighter, stronger, untouchable. Sometimes the most powerful move isn't revenge. It isn't forgiveness. It's simply disappearing. No drama, no announcement, no "I'm done with you" speech. You just stop giving them what they want, your attention, your reaction, your energy. You go quiet. You go inward. You go forward. This isn't about ghosting people to feel superior. It's about reclaiming your space, your peace, your freedom. See, toxic people thrive on chaos. They need your engagement to stay relevant in your story. But when you stop feeding the fire, it burns out on its own. They're left swinging at shadows, fighting a war that no longer has an enemy. You've exited the battlefield. You've built a new life in a new place, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And here's the truth. Not everyone deserves access to the next version of you. I've done this before. There were people I cared about deeply, people who I thought would grow with me. But every time I leveled up, they pulled harder to keep me in the same old place. Until one day I chose to rise, without telling them. No confrontation, just transformation. And eventually, silence did what no argument ever could. It ended the connection with clarity and strength. So if they still talk about you, let them. If they still throw stones, let them. You're not in that village anymore. You've climbed a mountain too high for their words to reach. This isn't pettiness, it's sovereignty, because your peace is priceless. And the moment you disappear from the minds of those who seek to harm you, you win a battle they never even knew they lost. Here's the truth about success. The loudest victories don't make a sound. You don't have to post about it. You don't need to prove anything. You just keep building, keep growing, keep moving. And one day, without ever saying a word, your life becomes the message. Your enemies? They'll notice. Even if they never say it out loud, deep down, they'll feel it. That sting. That quiet question they ask themselves. How did they make it without fighting back? It burns more than an insult ever could, because the person they tried to belittle is now beyond their reach. The life they mocked has become something they secretly envy, and the success they never believed in is now echoing in the very silence they once laughed at. Here's what I've learned. When you stay focused on your own path, your progress becomes your protection. You don't need revenge. You don't need to out-talk them. You just need to outgrow them so thoroughly they can't even pretend you're the same person anymore. And that's the real victory. They'll watch you from a distance, trying to downplay what you've built. But they'll know the truth. They'll feel it in the pit of their stomach, because deep down, they know. You didn't win because you were louder. You won because you never stopped working. You want to hurt those who hate you? Don't yell. Don't explain. Just succeed. Quietly, consistently, relentlessly. Let your life get so bright that they can't even look at it without squinting. Because in the end, the most haunting thing you can do to someone who wanted to see you fail is to become everything they said you never could, without ever saying a word. So let's bring it all together. You want to break those who hate you, not through vengeance, not through shouting, but through evolution. You remain still when they try to shake you. You stay disciplined when they expect you to fall apart. You outlive their hate, forgive without attachment, vanish without warning, and rise in silence, until the person they tried to harm doesn't even exist anymore. You've become someone else, someone stronger, someone untouchable. This isn't weakness, it's not retreat, it's the highest form of control. Because the truth is, they want your chaos. You give them calm. They want your pain. You give them indifference. They want war. You offer peace. And that peace, that stillness they cannot understand, will haunt them far longer than any insult or retaliation ever could. Remember this: you don't need to fight every battle. You just need to choose the ones worthy of your soul. The Stoics never taught us to be passive. They taught us to be powerful, internally, to master ourselves so fully that nothing outside of us can disturb our foundation. So let them talk. Let them throw stones. You don't need to throw anything back. Because when your inner world is calm, when your mission is clear, and when your life speaks louder than your voice ever could, that's the moment you've already won. Welcome to the path of Stoic true wisdom. Not everyone will understand it, but those who do will never forget it. If this message resonated with you, don't forget to subscribe. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. And remember, your silence is power. Your growth is the answer. Your peace is your weapon.